Hello, this is chapter 7, video number 2. We are back to the typing problem where we're talking about the mean typing speed of a group of students and its standard deviation. So this is the exact same model that we had in the first video, so if you still have your notes for that, feel free to take those out. You should have this model already drawn. So assuming that this is normally distributed, we have a mean of 45 words per minute with a standard deviation of 12. And we are all good at finding out those benchmarks for positive 1, 2, and 3 standard deviations and negative 1, 2, and 3 standard deviations. And we are very, very good using the empirical rule about finding proportions with here. So if I were to ask you, hey, what is the proportion from 21 words per minute to 69 words per minute, you would know that that would be 95% using the empirical rule. So we are going to extend this knowledge and learn something new today. So let's go ahead and look at question number 1. It says, what proportion of students can type faster than 50 words per minute? All right, and if I look up here at 50 words per minute, that is not one of our perfect standard deviations. 50 words per minute is going to be somewhere in here. So if I want to know what proportion can type faster than that, I'm looking for the area under the curve to the right of this benchmark. Now, looking at this, taking a few guesses. Well, I know that this entire piece is 50%, and this was supposed to be 34%, and 50 words per minute, somewhere in there. So I'm going to guess somewhere maybe around like 40%. It's a little bit less than 50. I'm going to guess somewhere around like 40%, maybe 30 something percent. But that is my guess looking at the model that we have been given. But you can't just eyeball it and use the empirical rule on this one. Now, a few things that we do know about this. This is at 50 words per minute. One thing we could calculate here is a z-score. And this is what we did in chapter 3. To figure out a z-score, you just take, hey, what value do you have minus the mean divided by the standard deviation. So if I do that, the value that we've been given is 50. My mean is 45. So over 45. And then finally, divided by my standard deviation, divided by 12. And I would have a z-score, if I were to divide that out, will that be 5 divided by 12? That comes out to be positive 0.42, 0.42. And that is my z-score. That tells me, hey, even though this isn't a perfect 1 standard deviation above, this is 0.42 standard deviations above. Now, back in the old days, this z-score would be our key in figuring out this percentage. Way back when in education, to figure out percentages, you would be given a long document like this full of numbers, and you would say, hey, I need my z-score of 0.42. So my z-scores go all the way from negative 3.9. I'm looking for 4.2. Here's 0.4, but if I want 0.42, I got to go over. This tells me that I'm at 66%, but that's only the area left of the z-score. Hang in there if I've lost you. Don't worry, you're not going to have to do this. But this would give me my percentage on the left of that z-score. So this would tell me that this is 66%. Well, if that is 66%, well, what percentage is left? Well, 100 minus 66 would be 34% over on this side. Now, let me be honest. I have not calculated this using z-scores in a table in a very long time. Let's go ahead and figure out a more efficient manner to do this. All right, technology is your best friend here. Technology is your best friend. So what I would like for you guys to do right now is just watch me do Desmos. You'll have plenty of time to go and try this for yourself and make sure that you can type this in. What I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and type in that I'm looking at a normal distribution. So if I type in normal dist, and I do have to specify what my mean and standard deviation here is. My mean was 45. My standard deviation was 12. Don't forget to separate those with a comma. So I have identified that I have a normal distribution. My mean is 45, and then I'm looking at 12. Now, just like our binomial distribution, we can go ahead and find our cumulative probability. And currently we are looking at from negative infinity to positive infinity. That's what we've got for the accumulation from negative infinity to positive infinity. Well, that's not what I'm looking for here. I want to know what percent is between 50 and then off towards infinity. So I'm going to go ahead and change this. My minimum value here is 50, and then I'm off towards infinity. You can actually just type in infinity. And guys, this is the exact same answer that the previous page had. This percentage is 0.338, 0.338. So this proportion for number one is 0.338. All right, and that was just kind of our eyeball guess, was somewhere in between 40 and 30. And sure enough, that is right at 34. So real quick recap. I was looking at 50. I want to know what is the probability from 50 on. Use Desmos, hey, from 50 to infinity. Now, if you do not want to type out infinity every single time, you'll get the exact same answer if you just type in a really big number. Let me just type in 1,000,000. Notice it's the exact same answer. So if you don't want to type in infinity, you're good. Just make sure you have a sufficiently large number there. All right, let's check out the next question. It says, what proportion of students type less than 30? Less than 30. All right, so here we go. I'm going to go ahead and erase this from before. I'll go ahead and erase my z-score as well. All right, let's figure out where 30 is. So 30 is going to be somewhere in here. All right, this is 21 words per minute. This is 33. 30 is going to be somewhere in here. So if I were to guess at a percentage here, and it's purely a guess, well, I know that this is 50. I know that this is 34, which would leave 16% for this whole piece. I'm going to guess somewhere around like 12% maybe, 11 or 12%. But let's go ahead and use our normal model in Desmos to figure this out. So looking at my region, here, my furthest left, well, this goes on towards negative infinity. That goes on towards negative infinity. And then my right end bound is going to be right here. My right end bound is going to be 30. So let's go ahead and go back to the model. Our normal distribution has not changed. We're still at 45 to 12. Now for my minimum, I need negative infinity. So I'm just going to type in a minus sign and then write in infinity. And finally, my maximum value. Well, I want to know what percentage go from negative infinity all the way up to 30 words per minute. So 30 words per minute is just 30. Oh, I was a little high in my guess. This proportion is about 10.5%, so 0.106, 0.106. So my answer to this one was 0.106. And that seems to make sense looking at our picture. We knew that it was going to be less than 16%, and we ended up right around 11%. All right, and my favorite one, let's go ahead and look at this one. We have been asked to figure out what proportion type between 60 and 70 words per minute. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of draw a diagram here between 60 and 70. 60 would be right here, 70 would be right here. So I'm looking for what percentage are in between those two. All right, between 60 and 70, that's right here. Well, I don't have to go off towards infinity in either direction. I'm just looking, hey, what's between 60 and 70? So looking at my bounds, we're looking at 60 to 70. And that proportion is right around 8.7%. So that one is 0.087. So 0.087. Pardon my bad handwriting, do my best. All right, so to help you with these problems, big key here is to use Desmos. Make sure you have typed in the correct mean and standard deviation, and you can find out proportions just by using your cumulative probability distribution here. What's your lower bound? What's your upper bound? All right, so here is the main problem. After this, you should be able to do all of your exercises in the video 2 homework. Please let me know if you have any questions as you're going through those, and feel free to send any screenshots that you need. Have a great day.